You're on the road with Chris and Norm, the big Chevy, and we're at Evergreen in McMinnville, Oregon. Some bizarre stuff around here. It's a 747 on the roof of the water park. There's a great big building that has the Spruce Goose inside it. There's an IMAX theater, and there's an Air and Space Museum that's got like rockets and an SR-71 Blackbird inside. This place is amazing. Chris and I were recently at the Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum in McMinnville, Oregon. One of their pavilions is dominated by the Spruce Goose. I made a video of the whole place, but I thought I should make a separate one for the Spruce Goose. The plane is massive and sits in the center of a large A-frame pavilion. Dozens of other aircraft and artifacts sit around under its wings and tail. We paid extra to visit the upper flight deck and cockpit. They let us sit in Howard Hughes' seat. You can walk into the wing roots from the rear of the flight deck. A mechanic can walk to the back of each engine during flight.
Kind of hard to conceive how big this Spruce Goose is. It is big. I'm under the wing. The Spruce Goose is sitting on top of wood and then a frame of metal, and I have a strong suspicion about this frame. I think that it was built in 1944. Look at the size of the steel. Chris, this is two frames. There is an inside I-beam there, and look at the slab. Look at the size of that slab. It's like 4-inch thick solid steel, and then it goes to this. I think that's original, and I think this is a part of the museum, and I think that is original, and I think that this aircraft, ever since its flight, I bet you it was built on top of this bunk, and I'll bet you this is the only bunk this aircraft has ever had. You can see some piping added to it for a sprinkler system, and they've cut holes. They've made it into, it's got a hole in the bottom there and a 3-inch water main going into it for a sprinkler system. The whole aircraft has a sprinkler system.
That's wood.
Oh yes, it's all wood. Everything's wood. Like these bunks are blocks of wood, and they've got some little tiny cover on top that when they painted it, they sprayed it so everything got painted at the same time. But I'm positive, Chris, I'm positive this bunk was very old. Look, it's cabled down to the bunk, to the new frame that they have here. The new frame, the aircraft is attached to it. This is big. Let's go in it. You can still go into this part right here. Way over there is the Wright Flyer, a replica of the Wright Flyer, and apparently its first flight went from about the wingtip to the third engine here. That was the length of the first powered flight. But you can go inside, so they've made a thing so it does not touch the airplane. Interesting, comes through the plexiglass here to keep you from touching the airplane. Then you can see into it. If you have a camera on a stick, you can even go way up like this and get a clear picture. That dude is a mannequin way in there. And this hatch right here, Chris, there's 16 fuel tanks. They're 1,000 gallons, and that's one of them. You're looking at the edge of one right there. Those lines are fuel lines. The tanks, 16 on each side here, those were fire bottles, and they were added after the aircraft was after its first flight. These beach balls here, they're in this. What happens is when they took this thing apart to move it here, they discovered that the wingtip the floats out on the wingtip there, they were completely filled with beach balls. And what Howard Hughes was wondering, if they leaked, they would become full of water, but they can't get full of water if they're full of beach balls. Pretty good idea. That was the idea. So here you are, you're inside this baby, and the only way up to the flight deck back in the day was that ladder, but today they've made they put that staircase in to get tours into there. And this is looking forward. There's a lot of wire in this for an old wooden airplane.
So the stairs up there, they make the cockpit is up there.
Yes. There's a deck above us and there's a deck below us. The deck below us is holding fuel and water.
How big is this compared to those things you see nowadays that have the things that drop where they load tanks?
That's a C5.
Yeah.
Better comparison.
Oh, and here's the building.
747 out there.
That's the building he built around it.
Literally the same size.
So this aircraft
The wingspan.
flew once, and then it went into this building for 30 years. Actually, longer than that. It went into this building and it stayed completely ready to fly. This building was apparently hermetically, it was climate controlled. And it sat in there until 1967. He pulled the budget a bit, and it was not ready to fly after that, but it stayed in the building. And then Howard Hughes died in 1976, and this aircraft was transferred to, where do you see that picture? Oh, over here. It was transferred to Disney, bought it, and then it went into that dome, and it sat next to the Queen Mary. There's an exhibit in there. And then the Evergreen Museum bought it, and for $500,000, brought it here. This is the bottom of the wing spar there, and you see those straps? Those are steel straps, but the bottom of that wing spar is wood. Everything you see back there is wood. This whole thing is made of wood. Pretty amazing.
Charging the batteries that would have been below decks here. And it gets its charge from
There's those
an auxiliary power unit
straps.
that's on the deck above us. Huge, two big generators.
And was this ladder and stuff?
A real culture shock.
Oh, very nice.
Let's start right here.
Okay. Okay.
Registration, all those people
Okay, let me give you a quick story.
Okay.
What happened when the United States went into World War II, a week after the bombing of Pearl Harbor? Within a week, we declared a war on two continents. The Japanese in the Pacific, Germans in the Atlantic, both wanted to take over the United States. Okay. Our government rightly felt that the Germans were more technically advanced and had been in combat longer than the Japanese. So the idea was to get our troops over to Europe really quickly, win over there versus destroying our own country.
Right.
Right? Okay. What happened is to get our troops over there, the Germans were waiting for us with the submarines,
Yeah.
the Wolfpack. So first 6 months to get our troops over there, we lost 681 troop ships in 6 months.
Wow.
Well, each ship had 2,000 to 3,000 troops each.
Yeah.
So tens of thousands of our men that we never made it.
Never made it.
Those ships were being built by Henry Kaiser.
Yeah.
He was building 3 ships a day. Every port in the United States was building ships for him, and he was losing more ships than he was building.
Yeah. Wow.
Let alone the troops
Yeah.
that we needed over there. Thousands of them.
Yeah.
So in late 1942, he said, I need help. So that's when he got with Howard Hughes as an airplane guy, Kaiser's the boat builder came up with the idea of a large flying boat that would fly around where the submarines were at.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that was the idea. Well, the problem was the airplane of the time. As you come into this building, the military went out in the lawn out here, the C-47,
Yeah.
carried a maximum of 32 people.
Yeah.
Jump from that to one now is going to carry 400 combat-ready troops
Yeah.
in one now.
Yeah. It's hard to wrap your head around.
You can't.
Yeah.
Even
But they also get there
politician.
in a
But-
tenth of the time
Yeah.
and rested. And
Yeah. See, so Howard Hughes said he could do it. So he took over the project, got President Roosevelt's approval. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Keep going.
As this, after his flight, and after those 33 years,
Wow.
he ultimately died in 1976. And so the Spruce Goose was set up in Long Beach Harbor as a tourist attraction. Okay?
Yeah.
Ultimately, Disneyland bought them out in 1988.
Right.
Within 2 years, it didn't make Disney enough money. So basically, they kept the Queen married and said, get rid of the Spruce Goose. So it's not only to buy them, take it apart, move it, restore it,
Yeah.
and rehouse it. So all of them.
Right.
So it's pretty good undertaking.
Yeah, I saw some of the photos in the book
So
what they did.
this
but-
museum got possession in August of '92.
Yeah.
Got up here February of '93.
Okay, yeah.
Spent 7.5 years across the street being restored.
Right.
Built the building, the symbol was inside.
Those are good beach balls.
Those are really well made beach balls. Hi guys.
These beach balls have not been reinflated. These are from
Exactly.
these are from 1947,
Yes.
and nobody's put air in them.
No. Okay, so they were actually in this wing float right here
Yeah.
on both sides.
Yeah.
Then they had another couple hundred down
Down
in the
below.
bilge of your boat.
Right.
Okay, so this lands and takes off on water at 95 miles an hour.
Right.
Well, in the 40s, they really did not patrol the harbors out well. So the potential of hitting something pretty high. So if he did start sinking, he felt he had theoretically enough beach ball
Yeah.
with the air trapped in the beach ball to stay afloat enough to get back to shore.
Back to shore and then start repairs.
Yeah. So before this, he had built another seaplane a lot smaller where he put ping pong balls.
Okay.
Kind of the same idea.
Right.
Trapping that area.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's actually
We use styrofoam.
Because water
but-
can't get in.
Yeah.
Very little water can get in. It's a great idea.
Okay.
One thing I want to point out in here is these. There's 7 fuel tanks on each side, 14 down below.
Yeah.
Each one has a vent, and that's what these lines are.
Yeah.
And they go all the way out. Each tank has its own vent going down the side,
Yeah.
and the tanks are down below.
Yeah.
And there's the end of one, right there. Pretty
Okay.
cool.
If you would like. You betcha.
point it at us.
It's actually going right now.
Okay.
The Spruce Goose tour. We're at the Spruce Goose, inside the Spruce Goose. Thank you
Inside the
very
flight
much.
deck of the Spruce Goose.
Yes, we're inside the deck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow.
All right.
That's very cool.
Pretty big airplane and it's
Yeah.
made of wood.
So were they just gonna sit on the floor or is that kind of the idea?
No, actually, the 2 layers, they're actually going to sit on benches,
Okay.
but back to back.
Okay.
But this is a prototype, so it's not finished.
Right, yeah,
This
so
is
I'm
a
just trying
a
to
maiden flight prototype here.
I'm just trying to picture like
It's not
how
finished.
they would actually get the
So
break
they're
out the
going to
middle.
have 2 layers of
This big box is a HEPA filter, and it's really just for Howard Hughes to have fresh air. And it's got a pipe coming out of it, goes up and over, and goes all the way to his. It goes. You can see the pipe heading right to where his seat is.
Okay, so the nose of this airplane right here
Yeah.
was actually going to open up like a clamshell
Yeah.
this way.
Yeah.
So for the next 2, that was the idea. So they would go down through the nose.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's your electrical panel.
Yeah.
Station header, that's the hydraulic system.
Okay.
The first use of hydraulic in an airplane is this.
Right.
And Chris, so that is right below the pilot seat right there.
Yeah.
So there's all,
Oh, that's all
the
the
controls
controls.
begin to operate on those little tiny cables,
Yeah.
but then they go to hydraulic systems that take over. And
Hydraulic boosters.
Oh,
we
boosters,
should
okay.
look at
All
that.
the way 219 feet away.
Oh, they're way back there.
Oh my
So those cables stretch back to the boosters that actuate back there. So these little cables. So it doesn't have a co-pilot. It has a co-pilot seat, but the co-pilot doesn't have any
I'll
controls.
explain that one.
This is a single seater. So this little staircase was added by the Disney Corporation when they owned the airplane.
Yeah.
Everybody back in the day went up into this.
See, Howard
Up a ladder.
really had wooden step ladders.
And these windows were not in the airplane when they were put in by Disney as well. Oh, this is something.
This is very cool. Oh, wow.
So I'll get you forward just a minute, but what I wanted to show you here is how far out those engines are sitting.
Yeah. That's not. Wouldn't that be
Those are
loud?
actual engines. So
Not really very far away.
15 feet from the edge of the wing.
Right.
For the fact of where the exhaust is for each engine, where the fins are at,
Yeah.
when each engine starts up, shoots a flame out about 10 to 12 inches.
Right.
Mathematically, that would cool before it hit the wooden wing.
Right.
He didn't get a chance to try it till the day of the flight.
Oh wow.
So what he did, he assigned a man, one behind each engine, inside the wing with a fire extinguisher. That's what I wanted to show you back here.
Okay.
Oh, this is where you can get inside the wing.
Yep.
Oh goodness, this is where the guys could just walk right down the wing.
Oh my god.
Right down the wing, look at that.
Holy. That's just like you kind of. You can.
So you can imagine just the noise of 3,000. It would have been
But there's-
deafening.
Well, I mean, also with it, like, it just right outside this. Like, if people are supposed to be up here,
Yeah.
how loud that pop
He had
was.
over 30 people up here, yeah.
Was that?
Okay, forward is to the left.
Wow, that's. And
So
it's
plus these two airplanes.
Right there.
That wooden spar that goes all the way.
across, and that's the whole width.
Wingtip to wingtip.
Wow.
But right here
This is the wooden
is
spar
your
right here.
50-yard line.
Holy
Right
smokes.
there. Okay.
So this is where the two wing halves come together.
Yeah. Crawl through. Oh.
Holy smokes.
Look at that. And like, see it. So there.
This is inside the wing. Okay, I'm sticking my head inside the wing.
The whole generation was smaller.
You could head on in there and walk around. Oh, and here's the spar plates. Does not look like too much to it. The wings are a box spar.
Like so, there's the little. I guess your bit of that, guys, but for
Yeah.
the most part,
And it's the dark one over here.
that's crazy.
So, but this is where the two halves meet.
Met. Okay. The gear line.
And it's all wood.
It's
Hey,
all.
a little bit more work to do here.
Yeah, yeah.
But let's get this fixed up by the end of the day, huh?
Yeah.
You know?
With all your electrical wiring is,
I'm sure half of it still works, to be honest with you.
well, it's
So-
all asbestos.
So this is a little
Oh.
hatch
So at that point.
that you could
don't
get
need
out to the top of the wing,
Yeah, I know.
and he could
I
head
bet
on
you- I
it,
bet
and
you
apparently
it all works.
he would direct his
sure
tugs
should.
from up here.
Should.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Howard
And I guess it's been
in this little
never corroded.
Yeah, that's right.
compartment right here.
That's super cool. Super. That's the outside there.
And that's when he's up in this little thing. Pretty cool.
So cool.
Amazing.
Okay.
And what's this thing?
Okay. These are radial engines,
Yeah.
4 banks of 7 radials
Right.
put together to come up with
28 cylinders.
well 3,000 horsepower each.
Right.
Radial engines typically burn/leak. These
Oil.
Oil.
They pass oil.
Okay.
They need a lot of oil
2 gallons of oil per hour per engine.
per engine.
Per engine. So
So there's a 30-gallon oil tank behind each engine,
yeah.
backed out by this reserve.
Oh, so that's an extra. Okay.
So it and there'll be guys checking those tanks through the flight if this thing was flying across the Atlantic.
oh yeah.
And then during flight they can add to that.
Yes.
They can
And even they had one guy up front that did that.
Right. Wow.
Okay? So you notice these little strips of wood here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are actually strain gauges.
Strain
Recording-
gauge. Yeah.
Recording vibrations.
Okay.
Recorded on the charts and graphs.
Right.
So afterwards, they know where the weak areas are.
Okay, cool. Oh, wow. So would they,
Just from
would
the
they
vibration.
snap if there is too by?
Well, it's just showing like a seismic thing, the
Right.
graphs.
Right. Okay, I see.
Okay?
Sorry.
So these chairs are original, but nobody was seatbelted
Right.
because that came in after the fact.
Right. Okay.
But everybody smoked, so you gotta have your ashtray.
You're in a wooden airplane,
In a wooden airplane, yeah.
and just light
Of
up.
course, then smoking
light up the
didn't
Marlboro.
bother you.
yeah. Oh, so, I mean, just shut the curtain. It's fine.
Yeah,
Just shut the
yeah.
curtain.
Let me
It's okay.
see.
That's not a health hazard.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. So
Coffee
those
service?
windows were not here during the flight.
Right.
That wall actually looked like this during the flight.
Okay.
All right? Okay. What I'm going to have you do is sit in these two chairs, the pilot, co-pilot seat.
Okay.
The only thing I ask is do not move the controls.
Okay.
Okay? So here's Howard Hughes sitting right there.
Right.
So go ahead. Ideally is get each other's photographs
Yeah.
because most cameras, there's too much light there at night.
Yeah. Did you hit your head?
Yeah, because I was filming. That was not good. Anyhow, I want to film this whole thing really nicely. Flight engineer station.
Yes.
8 engines.
Now, because of who Howard Hughes was, he wanted to make sure he got the credit for flying.
Right.
So, of the 19 crew members, thinking 8 of them were in the wings, 4 of them were downstairs, the rest of them were kind of scattered throughout this whole upper area.
Yeah.
He would not allow anybody on his chart to, other than himself, to have a pilot's license.
Oh, really?
So there was no co-pilot.
Right. So there's just like a reporter. Would a reporter sit here then, or something?
No, the guy that sat there, he designed a hydraulic system.
Oh, okay. So he was monitoring.
But he's the guy that took the plane off. He's the one that lowered the flaps.
Yeah, right.
And off she went. Wow, she could look right out these things. He
Wow.
could stand up out of here.
So what I'm going to have you do, that's one thing I'm going to have you do, is stand up, look out the window over your head, and look back.
Look back. Okay. Oh my. Oh wow.
Gives you a feel of how big this airplane really is.
Oh my. Oh wow.
Oh my word.
That's something. That's something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, seeing what I did, you got the credit for flying,
Yeah.
so I really have to give the flight.
Here's
engineer
his
right here.
own.
Right.
Howard had his
vertical
own
gauge is per engine.
his own air.
So he started
So that
his
big HEPA
engine,
filter downstairs
then he had
came
to
all the way up to here and
synchronize
came
it
here.
with
So
the
he was
wall.
only breathing his own air that
He
came out of
did
this.
the
And
work, so Howard Hughes get the credit for flying.
Right.
this was a
I'm sure that's like
trim.
Oh, so those are all the power.
More
to the
trim.
Engine.
wow.
And then wow. Okay.
And can I pull these back?
No.
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 They're to be like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll. Still...
So like I said, this year,
Yeah,
you
get
want
me
to
in
wear his hat?
Do I wear his hat, Dad?
No. Why, you have Howard's hat?
Well, it's a replica of his hat, but
Yeah, put his hat on.
It's a replica of Howard's hat.
Howard's hat. Yeah. Hi, Hughes.
Yeah, this thing's going. Yeah, we're out of here. Can you clear some of this stuff away? Can you open the door? Can you open the door?
that actually right straight ahead is a runway. A water park
Yeah.
flew in across the street, then they brought it over.
Oh, cool.
So I had to make sure that the ground would hold that weight.
Right. I see. That's real cool.
So the one on the water park has 63 million miles. This one has 57 million miles on it.
50. Oh. That's
Basically, it's fatigued out of
Couple-
going out of service. Yeah.
couple times around the planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So yeah, again, it's all wood.
Awesome.
Wow.
But he
And
did provide coffee for it.
oh yeah, at least you got coffee, Dad. So that's. I mean, you're definitely in very high chance of dying, but you know.
Yeah.
And then these are the seismographs. Okay.
Yeah, that's where all the sensors were recorded on here, so they're all numbered, so they, after
Right.
the fact, they know where the weak areas are.
Oh, okay, so they could
Yeah,
go and reinforce as necessary.
know exactly where the weak areas are.
Again, so that table's only there for flight test.
And same with these, yeah.
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 So, like I said, the first taxi was at 35 miles an hour.
Little shot here shows the fuel tank vents sticking out the side. And we're done. We've seen this thing. Pretty amazing.
Who was this man? Howard Hughes.